Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be getting back into another commander guide. This one being Rakdos, specifically Lord of Riots. So for double black, double red, we have legendary creature demon 6/6 can't be cast unless an opponent has lost life this turn. Flying trample creature spells you cast cost one less to cast. For each life, one life your opponents have lost this turn. So as you can tell, obviously this is going to be about our opponents losing life and us casting creature spells. So let's get into it. So first up, our first section is we have obviously things that are going to deal damage, allow us to cast Rakdos and make stuff cheap. So, well, maybe not this one. Probably not Obsidian Fireheart. Okay, so I guess I kind of messed up there, but still a good card nonetheless. It deals damage to your opponent at the beginning of their upkeep, the blaze counters. I'll read it to you. One generic, triple red, creature elemental 4/4. For one generic, double red, put a blaze counter on target land without a blaze counter on it. As long as that land has a blaze counter on it, it has at the beginning of your upkeep, this land deals 1 damage to you. The land continues to burn after the Obsidian Fireheart has left the battlefield, as didn't deal damage. So this is on your opponent's upkeep. So unless you have creatures with flash, it's kind of actually useless. So I kind of didn't think about this on my part. Probably could put something in like Torban, Fane of Redfill. But we got plenty of stuff to make up for. Besides, this is still pretty good because their opponent's going to be losing life anyways. And Obsidian Fireheart actually may end up killing them. So this could be a finisher. Next, we have Hellrider to actually allow us to cast stuff on our turn. 2 generic, double red, creature devil, 3/3. Haste. Whenever creature control attacks, Hellrider deals 1 damage to the defending player. So obviously attacking is going to be good for us, allowing us to deal a bunch of damage. Next, we have Blood Gift Demon, 3 generic and double black creature demon. By 4 flying at the beginning of your upkeep, target player draws a card and loses 1 life, selecting you or someone else to start the life loss and start the pain train. Next is Massacre Worm, 3 generic, triple black, creature worm, 6/5. When it enters the battlefield, creature control get -2/-2 until end turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, that player loses 2 life. So creatures dying now causes their opponents to lose life, and if we can cause that on our turn, then that will benefit us more because then we can cast more stuff for even cheaper. Vile Smash of the Fierce, 1 generic, 1 black, 1 red for legendary creature, Golem Berserker 2/3. You may have seen this before. If you haven't, whenever you cast your first spell each turn, hold on. Alexa, stop. Choose an opponent at random. Vile Smasher the Fierce deals damage equal to that spell's converted mana cost to that player or a planeswalker that player controls. So obviously you're going to be aiming this at an opponent's random face, so a random opponent's face, I should say. Dealing damage, and this will be for the first spell you cast each turn. And the higher the CMC, the better the damage. Storm Surge, 5 generic and a red for an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under control, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. And this is the creature dealing damage equal to its power to its target. So side note, it says lifelink or like death touch, then this can be used to kill other opponent's creatures or to help you gain life if that has lifelink. Like the 1/1 entering battlefield dealing 1 damage, but if that has death touch, so that can be aimed at something big to get rid of a big thing of your opponents. All in all, still nice. allowing us to enable Rakdos's ability once more with creatures now entering the battlefield. Karavek, the Merciless, 5 generic black and red legendary creature, human shaman, 5/4, a very heavy hitter. Whenever opponent plays his spell, Karavek the Merciless deals damage to target creature or player equal to that spell's converted mana cost. Now this does somewhat work if your opponents are playing like counter spells or like stuff during your turn, but other than that, this was once again a card I didn't think through. Hold on.
30 minutes, starting now.
But still, this could work. Once again, like Obsidian Fireheart, I kind of didn't think of it until now, but it could be a great finisher. Controls your opponents. Definitely something to have in a red-black deck. 5 alarm fire, 1 generic, double red. Enchantment, whenever creature you control deals combat damage. That doesn't say to a player or to a creature or to a planeswalker. That can be to anything. Put blaze counter and 5 alarm fire. Remove 5 blaze counters from 5 alarm fire. 5 alarm fire deals 5 damage to target creature or player. So you deal damage with any of your creatures to anything. 5 alarm fire is going to be getting those blaze counters, and then you're going to be able to remove 5 once it has it, and deal 5 damage to target creature or player. So it can be used to kill like something with toughness 5 or less, as long as it doesn't have indestructible or hexproof. And can also be used to enable Rakdos's abilities, causing creature spells you cast to cost 5 less every time you activate 5 alarm fire's ability. Quake Bringer, 3 generic double red creature, giant berserker, 5/4. Foretell costs of 2 generic and double red, meaning you for 2 generic you can exile from this hand and then exile it face down and then play it on a later turn during your turn. And at the beginning of your upkeep, Quake Bringer deals 2 damage to each opponent. This ability only triggers if Quake Bringer is on the battlefield or if Quake Bringer is in your graveyard and you control a giant. And your opponents can't gain life. Big thing right there. So that locks them up and could secure a win. Not to mention that 2 damage on your upkeep to each opponent. That means if in a 4-way, 3 opponents will have lost 2 life, meaning that's right off the bat, because of Rakdos, your creature spells will cost 6 less to cast, and you will have done nothing. Ayara, First of Locthwain, triple black for legendary creature Elf Noble 2/3. Whenever she or another black creature enters battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And that's each opponent once again. So you play a black creature or Ayara here. Each opponent is going to lose a combined total of 3 life if you're in a 4-way. Meaning that just by playing Ayara alone, Rakdos will have once again have his abilities been enabled, and yourself will already cast your creature spells will already cost 3 less generic mana. And then you can tap, sacrifice another black creature, draw a card, and also you're gaining life as you're playing black creatures. So keep that in mind. Next we have Dragon Seth, Mauve Flames, 4 generic, triple red, legendary creature dragon, flying, 7/7. When it attacks, it deals 4 damage to any target and 3 damage to each up to 2 other targets. So that can be 4 damage to anywhere and then 3 damage to any other target. So that can be 4 damage to 1 opponent and then 3 damage to 2 other opponents in a 4-way. But this can be anywhere, so aim it anywhere you want. Planeswalkers, creatures, opponents, doesn't matter. It can be aimed anywhere you want. Pretty good though. Can kill like 3 things if one of them has toughness 4 or less, and the other 2 have toughness 3 or less, or if it's a planeswalker with like 3 or 4 loyalty. But also, if you deal the damage to your opponents directly, then that right there is all of your creature spells costing 10 generic less to cast because of Rakdos. And if he gets through, then that becomes 17 generic less to cast. Terror of the Peaks, 3 generic, double red, creature dragon, flying, 5/4. Spells your opponents cast that target Terror of the Peaks, cost an additional 3 life to cast. So targeting this alone will enable Rakdos because of the 3 life it costs them to cast spells against Terror of the Peaks. And whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. So as you're playing creatures, they're going to become cheaper and cheaper because of Terror of the Peaks and Rakdos, Lord of Riots. Because Terror of the Peaks is dealing more damage to any target, or more specifically, most likely your opponents, which will then result in Rakdos causing your stuff to cast. Creature spells you cast to cost however much less to cast, depending on the amount of damage you've dealt in that turn with Terror of the Peaks alone. But keep in mind, it's everything combined that you've dealt. Next, we have Killing Wave. X and a singular black sorcery. For each creature, its controller sacrifices it unless he or she pays X life. So this can be a nice board wipe, or it can be a nice enabler, because this is for each creature. Now keep in mind, this is also yours. So if you just one being paid towards this can be pretty effective, because your opponents could lose a good amount of life and a good amount of creatures, and you may not lose all that many life or many creatures, depending on what matters to you at the moment. Or you can pay a high amount to Killing Wave and completely wipe the board via sacrifice. So pretty nice control card, sort of. Obnixilis Reignited, 3 generic, double black, Planeswalker Nixilis, 5 loyalty is what he comes in with. +1, you draw a card and you lose 1 life, so card draw. -3, just short target creature. -8, target opponent gets an emblem with whenever a player draws a card, you lose 2 life. So as you're drawing cards, as they're drawing cards, as other opponents are drawing cards, they're losing life. And it's going to help you cast your stuff for even cheaper, your creature spells, I should say. Next, we have another Obnixilis the Fallen. 3 generic, double black, so same cost. Legendary creature demon. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may have target player lose 3 life. If you do, put 3++ counters on Obnixilis the Fallen. So not only is he fueling Rakdos' abilities, once again, like we're wanting our cards to, but he is getting stronger as he does it. And this is whenever we're playing lands. So this is awarding us for doing mostly everything, which is what we want. You want to utilize everything in your deck as much as you can when playing Commander. So Obnixilis is a good example of this in this case. Another good example is Vicious Shadows, 6 generic and a red. Enchantment, whenever a creature is put into your graveyard from play, that's on any side of the battlefield. You may have Vicious Shadows deal damage to target player equal to the number of cards in that player's hand. So this punishes opponents for playing Sacrifice, Aristocrats, things like that, having cards in their hand all at once, and for killing our creatures. So Vicious Shadows is, well, very vicious. Ironcrag Pyromancer, 2 generic and a red. Creature Human Wizard, 0/4, a little more tame. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, Ironcrag Pyromancer deals 3 damage to any target. So not too bad. Nice cheap creature to get out to help deal damage and to help cheapen your creature spells. Mogus, God of Slaughter, 2 generic, black and a red, legendary enchantment creature god, 7/5, indestructible. As long as your devotion black and red is less than 7, Mogus isn't a creature, which begs the question, as you cast this, if you don't have enough devotion, does he count as a creature? Therefore, is he cheap? Is he cheaper or not? Well, it doesn't matter really, because first of all, he's a 4 mana creature, so not too bad. And even if he was high cost, he's pretty well worth it. Indestructible, as long as your devotion to black. Well, I already read that part. At the game, each month upkeep, Mogus deals 2 damage to that player unless he or she sacrifices another creature. Once again, I apparently didn't think about this until now. Like I'm right as I'm reading it. But still, it's not bad because it's a good way to keep control of your opponent's creatures. Well, their boards there, I should say. Or threaten them with life loss. Well, it does threaten them with life loss. So nice and all. And also it's worth it because like we're running red black. So we're gonna have a lot of devotion. 9/7/5 indestructible, can deal damage on its own. So it's fine. Next we have Fanatic of Mogus, excuse me. 3 generic and a red creature Minotaur Shaman 4/2. When it enters the battlefield, it deals damage to each opponent equal to your devotion to red. And from what you've seen, we have a lot of red cards in here. So if you have a lot of devotion out, you can deal a lot of damage to your opponents. And because of that, Rakdos will make your stuff omega cheap to cast. Probably what I would advise you do is, if you can find them, expel creatures in red and black, or just colorless expel creatures, which would probably be good because then you can cast them for way more than what you actually have available in mana because of how much Rakdos will have, how cheap Rakdos will have made them. Stalking Vengeance, 5 generic double red, creature avatar, haste 5/5. Whenever creature you control is put into a graveyard for player, basically when it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to target player. So the difference actually between this and just dying is that if it actually has to be put into the graveyard, it can't be a token. So this is saying whenever a non-token creature dies, it deals damage equal to its power to target. A non-token creature you control, it deals damage equal to its power to target player. So still nice. If we were playing sacrifices, would be pretty good, but this is more so meant to punish our opponents if they dare to block or destroy our stuff. Or if they even dare think about playing a board wipe. Like Stalking Vengeance would probably just then kill someone or multiple players. Vexing Devil. For singular red, it's a 4/3. Enters the battlefield, any opponent may have it deal 4 damage to him or her if a player does sacrifice Vexing Devil. It's pretty good because of what it does. It allows like early life loss, not to mention if it's kept around, which who would let this thing stay? It's a 1 mana 4/3. Then it can deal a bunch of damage. But still nice because then this also enables Rakdos' abilities. Just don't play this probably too early. I mean, if you want, since you're red and black, you may want to, just to get damage out there. But maybe play this a little later, considering that you probably won't have Rakdos on like turn 1. Yeah, not gonna happen. But still a nice card. Maybe you can play something. This was something like sure, Conrad the Grand to punish your opponents for playing mill. Anyways, Brat's Taunter. 4 generic and a red. Creature Goblin, 1/1 indestructible. When it is dealt damage, it deals damage to target opponent. And then for 2 generic and a red, it can tap. And it fights another target creature. So deal a bunch of damage to your opponent, make your stuff will make it cheap, blah blah blah. You know the deal. Tectonic Giant, 2 generic and double red creature elemental giant, 3/4. When it attacks or becomes the target of a spell an opponent controls, choose 1. It deals 3 damage to each opponent, which means that's a combined total of 9. So then your stuff, it costs 9 generic less to cast thanks to Rakdos. Exile, or you exile the top 2 cards of your library, choose one of them until the end of your next turn. You may play that card. So that's actually pretty nifty if you're searching for an answer, or you just need something to cast because you have no cards in your hand because of how much you've cast. Or just to generally take advantage of Rakdos' abilities. If not, deal 3 damage to each opponent. Just, you know, speed up the killing. Scorch Spitter, another turn 1 in red. For 1 red, it's an elemental lizard. 1/1. When it attacks, it deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker it's attacking. So nice all in all. Lets you get in for early damage and enables Rakdos' abilities later in the game. Leyline of Combustion, 2 generic and double red for enchantment. If it is in your opening hand, you may begin with the game with it on the battlefield. Whenever you and or at least 1 permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability opponent controls, Leyline of Combustion deals 2 damage to that player. So if you're becoming like, so this is to punish your opponents for playing spells against you. And if they do it on your turn, it's even more beneficial to you because then your creature spells cost however much less to cast. +2 now, I guess, because of Leyline of Combustion dealing 2 damage to that player. And also because of Rakdos. Next is Wound Reflection. Kind of also didn't think of this, but this is still a good card. It's probably more of a payoff for life loss, but still 5 generic and a black enchantment at the end of each turn, I should say. Each opponent loses life equal to the life he or she lost this turn. So essentially double damage, you could call it, but at the end of turn it happens. Yeah, the other half. Still a nice way to finish your opponents off. Could end the game really fast. Generally nice, and if you have something to cast on end step, if you can, I believe, then could work. Probably something with flash. Cardor, Doom Scourge. 2 generic, black and a red, legendary creature, Demon Berserker, 4/3. Its battlefield. Until your next turn, creatures your opponent's control attack each combat if able, and attack a player other than you if able. So first of all, diverts attention away from you, so essentially goes, which is pretty nice. And whenever an attacking creature dies, so this is on any side, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So helping you gain life, stay in the game if you ever needed it, because red black isn't really known as a color combination for gaining life. I mean, there are cards in black that help you gain life, but that's then focusing you towards like Vampire Tribal and gaining drain, and that's kind of not what we want to do. But this is pretty nice because it allows us to stay in. And if our attacking creatures die, then Cardor is gonna ping our opponents for 1, and we're gonna gain life. And this is each opponent. So 3 life once again in a 4-way because 3 opponents. Everything costs like X less to cast, where X is like the attack 3 times the number of attacking creatures we control died because of Rakdos and Cardor. Anyways, Dread Presence, 3 generic and a black creature nightmare, 3/3. Whenever a swamp enters the battlefield under your control, just 1, you draw a card and lose 1, and you lose 1 life, so helping you draw into more cards. Or Dread Presence deals 2 damage to any target, and you gain 2 life. So once again, rewarding us for playing everything, which includes now swamps specifically. Pretty nice. Exquisite Blood, 4 generic and a black enchantment. Whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. So now we're being rewarded for, for opponents losing life. So I probably should have just definitely put this at the payoff, but that's okay. Peripherals, God of the Forge, 3 generic and a red, legendary enchantment creature, God, indestructible, 6/5. As long as your devotion to red is less than 5, Peripheros isn't a creature. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Peripheros deals 2 damage to each opponent. So creature enters the battlefield, that's 6 total, and no damage has been dealt. That's all already off right off the bat. 6 damage that has been dealt in total to your opponents. That's 6 life lost in total by your opponents, and that is in result everything you cast costing 6 generic less to cast because of Rakdos. And then for 2 generic and red, creature control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Your devotion, if your devotion is to red is less than 5, Peripheros isn't a creature indestructible, 6/5. Pretty nice all in all. Omnixus Unshackled, 4 generic and double black, legendary creature demon for 4 flying trample. Whenever an opponent searches his or her library, and that player sacrifices a creature and loses 10 life. So if your opponents dare decide to search while Omnixus Unshackled is on the battlefield, good luck living, bud, because you're gonna be losing a creature and 10 life. Which then makes your stuff, of course, thanks to Rakdos, 10 generic less cost 10 generic less to cast your creature spells, I should say. And whenever another creature dies, put +1 pound, Omnixus the Unshackled. So pretty nice. Combustible Gearhulk, 4 generic, double red, artifact creature construct, 6/6 first strike. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent may have you draw 3 cards. If the player doesn't, you mill 3, then Combustible Gearhulk deals damage to that player equal to the total mana value of those cards. So if they are not careful and we mill like a 6, a 7, and an 18 CMC with this somehow, then that's like 21 damage right there. So if our opponents aren't careful, then this can help us start casting our creature spells really cheap, really fast. So instead, they'll probably just have us most likely draw 3 cards. Although there is a possibility that you do whiff, in which case, oh well, you have a first striking 6/6. It's fine. Veto, Thorn of the Dusk Rose, 2 generic and a black. Legendary creature, Vampire Cleric, 1/3. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. And I'm going to take time to address the fact that this goes with Exquisite Blood, because whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. And whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life, meaning that this is actually an infinite combo if you haven't seen it before in MTG Arena. And for 3 generic, double black, creature control, gain lifelink until end of turn. So now as your creature are dealing damage, they're gonna, well, cause you to gain a whole bunch of life. So now your stuff is becoming even cheaper. Also discover that you have an infinite combo in your deck if you're going off this exact guide right now, building with the exact cards. Anyways, and stuff like that. Chandra, Awakened Inferno, 4 generic, double red. This spell can't be countered. 6 loyalty is what she comes in with. Legendary Planeswalker Chandra. +2, each opponent gets an emblem with at the beginning of your upkeep. This emblem deals 1 damage to you. Once again, I saw damage, but still, nice finisher. Definitely a ticking clock if you haven't seen MTG Arena. -3. Chandra Awakened Inferno deals 3 damage to each non-elemental creature. That's another thing you should be careful about if you're not running elementals. And then -X. She deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. If a opponent dealt damage this way, would die this turn, exile it instead. So nice removal. Koth of the Hammer, 2 generic, double red, planeswalker Koth. 3 loyalty is what he comes in with. +1 untapped target mountain. It becomes a 4/4 red elemental creature until end turn. It's still land, so reward you for playing lands, and then become 4/4 to deal damage. -2, add a red man to your mana pool for each mountain you control. So nice ramp for red if we need it, because Rakdos is causing our stuff to cost generic mana less, meaning it doesn't cost colored mana less. However, much colored mana less. So that's nice, because eventually you will not be able to cast creature spells due to the fact that you have run out of colored mana. -5, get an emblem with mountains you control have tapped. This land deals 1 damage to target creature or player. Once again, I'm warning you for mountains being played, just like how Red Presidents reward you for swamps being played, except this is a lot more, because now it's gonna help us aim damage via use of lands to players. And this could just end up finishing people off, killing creatures, yada yada. Nice all in all. Enable Rakdos. Flame Blast Dragon, 4 generic double red creature dragon, 5/5 flying. Whenever it attacks, you may pay X in a red. If you do, it deals X damage to any target. So if you have a lot of mana lying around, then pump some of that into Flame Blast Dragon and blast your opponents straight in the face for however much damage you'd like. And then if you have some over, then that allows you to cast some stuff for pretty cheap. Nixilis of the Black Oath, 3 generic and double black for Planeswalker Nixilis, 3 loyalty, +2. Each opponent loses 1 life. You gain life equal to the life lost this way, so benefiting you, causing your creature spells to be cheaper. -2, put a 5/5 black demon creature token with flying onto the battlefield. You lose to life. Oh well. -8, you get an emblem with 1 generic and a black sacrifice a creature. You gain X life and draw X cards. Works to sacrifice creature power. Nixilis of the Black Oath can be your commander. So if you need card draw, life gain, demons, or just have your opponents lose life, then this is a great card. You probably won't be using this very often because of like how valuable your creatures are to your game plan, but who knows? Your opponents might have some stuff that can shut down certain things, like shutting down Seth via Ghostly Prism or something like that. Either way, we have Calculating Lich, 4 generic, black. Creature, zombie, wizard, menace, 5/5. Whenever a creature attacks one of your opponents, that player loses 1 life. So now when you're attacking, your opponents are the player you're attacking is losing life. And that's whenever a creature attacks one of your opponents, that player loses 1 life. So this can be your opponents attacking your opponents and not paying attention to what you're doing, which how are they not? So pretty good all in all. This could definitely just end a game out of nowhere if your opponents aren't careful. This could help you end the game, help your stuff become omega cheap. Enable Rakdos, buy a whole bunch. So just attack with stuff and have this out, and then your opponents will probably be dead in no time. Magmatic Force, 5 generic, triple red, creature elemental, 7/7, gain of each upkeep. Magmatic Force deals 3 damage to any target, so 3 damage to anywhere. Great Merchant of Asphodel, 3 generic, double blank, creature zombie, 2/4. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life, where X is your devotion to black. You gain life equal to life lost this way. So if they lose, 3 life, you're going to be gaining back 9. They lose like 10, you gain 30 if you're in a 4-way because you have 3 opponents. And we're going to probably have a lot of devotion to black, a decent amount, I believe. So all in all, pretty nice. And now, finally, after technically 41, including Rakdos, Lord of Riots, after 41 cards dedicated to life loss, we now have our payoff cards. And in fact, some of them are still even dedicated to causing your opponents to lose life. So first up, on the payoff cards for all this life loss, we have the Eternal. Alexa, stop. Have the Eternal, 3 generic, double red, legendary creature, zombie minotaur warrior, 4/6, afflict 3. Whenever this creature becomes blocked, defending player loses 3 life. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, so this is after combat, add red mana to your mana pool for each 1 life your opponents have lost this turn. So you probably won't be on any shortages of red mana anytime soon, with the head being out and with how much damage you're dealing. Not to mention afflict 3 and a 4/6, so a decent creature that can still also cause life loss. Knight of the Ebon Legion, 1 black creature, vampire knight, 1/2, 2 generic and a black. It gets +3/+3 and gains death touch until in turn. At the beginning of your end step, sorry, if a player lost 4 more life this turn, which they definitely will have, put a +1 count on Knight of the Ebon Legion. Unless they're, of course, playing damage preventation spells like Pause for Reflection, Root Snare, but we still have ways to get around that. Wildfire Elemental, 2 generic, double red, elemental, 3/3. Whenever an opponent is dealt non-combat damage, which most of the time they're going to be, creature control get +1/+1 until the turn. So this is going to buff up our creatures a whole bunch and probably just end the game out of nowhere, more than likely. Next, we have Chandra's Incinerator, 5 generic and a red, creature elemental. It costs X less to cast for X is the total amount of non-combat damage dealt to your opponents this turn. So this is not through creatures, but not through combat damage dealt directly by creatures, but damage, like how red does. Trample 6/6. Whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Chandra's Incinerator deals that much damage to a creature or planeswalker that player controls. So as your opponents are being dealt damage, so are their creatures and planeswalkers. So great payoff card. Chandra Spitfire, 2 generic and a red, creature elemental, flying, 1/3. Whenever an opponent is dealt non-combat damage, Chandra Spitfire gets +3/+0 until in turn, and you have no idea how powerful this can actually be. This can get nuts really quick and just kill your opponents out of nowhere. And finally, on the damage chaos, we have Furyborn Hellkite, 4 generic, triple red, creature dragon, 6/6, Bloodthirst 6 flying. What is Bloodthirst 6 or Bloodthirst in general? If opponent was dealt damage this turn, this creature enters the battlefield with however many counters. For example, 6 in this case, making this a 12/12, a very scary card. And our opponents will definitely have lost life. If they haven't, I don't know how, but they definitely love. Curse of Bloodletting, 3 generic, double red, enchantment or curse. So also now we're getting to the damage modifiers, so damage doublers, triplers. We have just 3 of these. Enchant player, if a source would deal damage to enchanted player, it deals double dead damage to that player instead. So this can help eliminate someone who's a threat to the table. This can also just close out a game due to the fact that your damage is being doubled. So then your creature spells are going to be, as a result, probably costing way less to cast during your turn, thanks to Rakdos. And not finished. This is just a scary card in general. And this is a source. So this can be from you, your opponents, even the player that the curse is attached to. Gratuitous Violence, 2 generic, triple red enchantment. If a creature you control would deal damage to a creature or player, it deals double that damage to that creature player instead, so double damage, you know the deal. And the Fire Emancipation, as if we really needed it, because at this point it's overkill. So, because this right here, that's like, so if you're doing damage with creatures alone, that's 4 times multiplier. Combined with this, your creatures are dealing 12 times the amount of damage. And if it's not creatures, then everything coming from you, at the least with this setup, with Curse of Bloodletting, if it's targeting that player that is cursed, and a Fire Emancipation, and it's your source, then is dealing 6 times the amount of damage it would normally do, which is crazy. Because Fire Emancipation triples your damage. Because if a source you control would deal damage to a permanent player, it deals triple that damage to that permanent player instead. 3 generic, triple red. Pretty overkill. Myriad Landscape. Enters battlefield, tap to add a colors, or for 2 generic, you can tap, sacrifice it, search your library for 2 basic land cards that share a land type, put them onto the battlefield tab, then shuffle your library. Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle, once again, more damage, as if we didn't have enough. It enters the battlefield tab whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control. If you control at least 5 other mountains, you may have Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle, deal 3 damage to a creature or player. Tap to add 1 red. This mountain usually would, but still now a land that punishes our opponents for us playing lands. Then Piranha Marsh to kind of even things out. Land enters battlefield tap. When it enters battlefield, target player loses 1 life. Tap, add black to your mana pool. Not as good as like Valakut, but still. Rogue's Passage, tap to add colors, or 4 generic. Tap, target can be blocked this turn. So if you needed that for whatever reason, even though you are in red and black, which is the color most definitely known for killing your opponents at a fast rate, then you have this. Isolated Watchtower, land, tap, add colors, or 2 generic, tap, scry 1. They may reveal the top card of your library. If a basic land is revealed this way, put it on the battlefield. Tapped, activate this ability only if an opponent controls at least 2 more lands than you, which they most likely will, because red-black isn't known for ramping in the sense of like lands. Green is, however. Blighted Gorge, tap to add 1 color to your mana pool, or 4 generic and red, tap, sacrifice it, and it deals 2 damage to target creature or player, so nice damage enabler for Rakdos. Failed Passage, tap, sacrifice it. You search your library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. If you control 4 more lands, untap that land. Then there's Spine Rock Knoll, our last non-basic land. Let's see. So, by the way, this land enters the battlefield tapped. When it does, look at the top 4 cards of your library, exile 1 of them face down, then put the rest on the bottom of your library. Tap to add red mana to your mana pool, or red, tap. You may put the exiled card without paying its mana cost. If the opponent is dealt 7 more damage this turn, which is definitely achievable in this deck. And then from there, we have 21 mountains and 21 basic swamps. 21 basic mountains, 21 basic swamps. That is it. I hope you enjoyed this deck guide. Please, if you want more of this, subscribe, leave a like on this video, share this video with others, hit the notification bell. I love you all who are supporting me right now, and I will see you later. Goodbye.